What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back for the My Team Journey episode number 2 for Marduk Motorsport. Once again, we are trying to take this team from the very bottom all the way to the top in Formula 1. Check out the previous episode if you haven't seen it already, the Bahrain Grand Prix. We went through the whole team creation, choosing our teammate, power unit, sponsors, the whole shebang. And yeah, it was quite the meaty episode, and it had an ending that I didn't see coming. And now, as we move into episode 2, we are left to pick up the pieces after, spoiler alert, yes, that engine failure only 4 laps into the Grand Prix. Absolutely savage. That has sent us back to the Stone Age. I went back down to I should have been driver acclaim level 0. We lost a bunch of resource points at the end of the last episode as well, so things are not going well at Marduk Motorsport right now. And it's to be expected. We're a brand new team. You expect some teething issues, but this has been something else. At least, though, we've had some solid pace. I feel like we were probably on target to get points in that Grand Prix, so we're going to move to Jeddah, where I think we're actually going to be even quicker than what we were in Bahrain because of the nature of the circuit. I was really struggling through the low-speed corners in Bahrain, and there's not many low-speed corners here at all, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, we're changing up the livery, or just the paint finish of the white. It was a satin finish in the first race, and I realized in practice 1 and practice 3 during the day, when the sunlight was hitting the paint, it was almost like blinding for the driver, let alone anyone else watching. So we've made that subtle change. We've gone from, I think we went from satin to now matte white. So that should hopefully be a little bit nicer. Again, we have another sticking point here with a department event. We're going to favor the merchandise and boost the team acclaim because, oh my words, we need it. And we need the cash.
Not an easy decision, but you handled it well. Thanks.
So finally, we have something go our way. A little bit of team acclaim, a little bit of cash. That'll hopefully go towards improving the facilities, but we're still limited on sponsors. We need to claim level 5 to get another sponsor, and then things will start to trickle down into upgrades and better facilities and better personnel, etc. There's a real logjam at the start of these career modes, and trying to unlock the potential as quickly as you can is the key to success, really, to set you up for season 2. I'm hoping we'll get some points finishes this season. I'm hoping we'll finish some races this season. That'll be nice. But yeah, I imagine, yeah, if we can at some point get some points or a top 5, that'll be incredible. I went ahead and did one of the supercar events, so that was much needed, really. I needed the driver acclaim. I needed a little bit of injection of cash, and we're going to spend that cash straight away on one of the driver perks. One of the ones I really like to do is driver development feedback. So that's a 10% boost in resource points, which will help us get more upgrades on the car quickly. Social media team is also handy, but it's for the driver acclaim. And driver acclaim does help with a team acclaim slightly, but yeah, I don't really want to spend that money just yet. I'd rather upgrade a facility first because we really do need to get flying on that. Anyway, 3 upgrades in the pipeline. This is where we stand heading into this race. We are sandwiched in between Alpine and McLaren, solidly in that midfield. The top 4 teams are just miles ahead of the rest, unfortunately. But yeah, all the resource points coming in for Friday and Saturday practice. And yeah, they're going to be much needed to get the ball rolling with the upgrades that we need. But there we go. That's all the housekeeping out the way. Time for the important sessions of the weekend. Saturday qualifying for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Alright then, it is go time. Pace looks pretty good this weekend, so I'm expecting to get out of Q1 this time. And don't worry, I'm not going to do just the 1 run this time. I think we're going to do 2. We're going to get our eye in solidly and get a couple of runs in. This was quite the eye-opening qualifying session. And I'll explain a little bit why later. We make some pretty amazing discoveries, things I've already talked about in previous videos, but this is where we got the basis of our knowledge from. Anyway, first lap here was pretty tentative. As you saw in turn 1, I had a couple of goes at trying to stop in a turn 1, so that was interesting. First lap was just nowhere. Teo Porcher 1.7 seconds off. I'm 2.7 seconds off. So there's a lot of time to find in both myself and in the track, I'd say. Bottoming out on that right-hand curve on exit of the first sector. And yeah, the flow of this circuit is much different now because of all the curbs. The potential of being able to bottom out on them. So you've got to be super careful of how you place your car, especially in that first sector. Bit of front wing damage. I nudged a barrier on the right-hand side, middle sector. We still improved by like 0.6. So that was pretty impressive. But here, Q1, absolute full send on this lap because we're in P19 and we have it all to do to try and get out of Q1. We have the pace, I believe, but we've got to put a full lap together without some front wing damage. I actually thought I invalidated lap because we mounted the curb and then the graphic came up on the top of the screen. So I thought that was GG, but no, we're okay. 7/10 up as we exit the first sector into the middle sector now. No contact of the wall on the right-hand side. These medium high-speed corners are very satisfying in this car when you've loaded up with some downforce. Much better run through there, right up against the wall. That corner right there is probably my favorite on the whole track. It is absolutely satisfying to run up right up against the wall and then not touch it. 1.1 seconds up as we approach Sector 3. Do not throw this away now, Ben. 1.4 seconds as we approach the last corner. And watch my braking. Watch the behavior of my car as we head into this last corner. It's on edge. As we head into here, tip it in, 50 brake bites. You can see the rear end trying to step out. But look at the time gain on exit. Our previous laps were terrible through there. And even that wasn't the best, but we still improved by 2 seconds to go in second place in qualifying 1. Absolutely unreal time from us there. I was absolutely shocked, and I'm still shocked at that lap. That we are 1.7 seconds quicker than our teammate. Worth noting, this is the exact same difficulty that we were running in the first episode at Bahrain, where Teo Porcher was like 2 or 3 tenths quicker than me in qualifying. The discrepancy between AI at different tracks is mental. At least it seems from there. Either Teo's not got a lap in, or I'd put in an absolute wonder lap. Anyway, Q2, we back up that form and we continue. P6 this time. We were 3 tenths lower in Q2, so it is what it is. But Q3 is where it's at. I discovered that new tires is worth so much time compared to old tires that doing a run on scrub tires is just not even worth the effort, really. So, whoa, heading into turn 1. Yeah, the braking is tricky this year. Very, very tricky. But we managed to get away with that. We managed to style that out without losing too much time on exit. So we got away with that one, but we still lost a little bit of time at turn 1, it had to be said. Anyway, Q3, Sector 1. This lap, would you believe, is actually quicker than the lap that we do in Q1. P10 at the moment. Have to dig ourselves out of trouble. We're not even in trouble. This is an amazing qualifying effort from us today. The difference between, new and old tires was nuts, because when I went out again in Q2 and put on old tires, I went back to 2 seconds a lap slower than the AI, or like over a second a lap slower than those around me. So there's something about new tires that we can extract out of the car that is absolutely nuts. So I don't know if that's going to be a feature for this whole game, having new tires. It certainly appears that way, because undercuts are absolutely ginormous as well. So online races, league racing, everything is going to be crazy. This lap is coming to an end, and again, still struggling in that last corner, but we got away with it pretty well. 27.9, that's 2 tenths quicker than our Q1 time, but it's P7 this time, a bit more realistic. I think it was a case of the AI not showing their full hand in Q1 and Q2. Q3, they turn it up and they go a second quicker, or Verstappen goes a second quicker than what I did in Q1. So there you go. Potentially some adjusting that we need to do difficulty-wise for the race. But how could I see that coming? I was slower than the AI in Bahrain. But here, we were just cracked. So, difficulty's going up. And we need to bring the pace.
We're here today on the shores of the Red Sea in the lower Hijaz Mountains to visit one of the newest circuits on the Formula One calendar. We're in Jeddah, home to what we all hope is going to be a thrilling Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And what would any Grand Prix weekend be without the one and only Anthony Davidson alongside me, as always, to talk you through the action. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen?
Well, it was a really impressive lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the lead into the first corner with so many quick starters around them? I'm also looking forward to seeing the different strategies in play today. Those who are starting on the red marked soft tyre are going to have a little bit more grip early on, but they have to make it count before that degradation starts to set in.
So here we go then. After an amazing qualifying, don't expect too many miracles in the race, unless there is some controversy for the AI, for some of the leaders. Hopefully there will be some crashes or whatever. It could be a case of McLaren recently, how they've qualified really well and then they kind of fall away in the race. I expect something like that to be the case. We do struggle on old tyres. We haven't had a long run yet because we only did 4 laps in Bahrain, so I don't know actually what the tyre wear of this car is going to be. This could be impossible in this race. We could go absolutely backwards. We did see that trend when I was doing used tyre runs in qualifying. I was a lot slower than my peers, so I'm not sure what to expect in this race. Expect the unexpected. This is F123, new handling model, new cars, new team. There's a lot of unknowns, and I'm excited to get started, to actually get some data gathering going and find my feet in this season of Formula One. We start P7. Optimal strategy is medium hard, it seems. 2-stop is there, but I don't imagine people are going to use it. It's nearly 10 seconds slower than the 1-stop. So 1-stop it is for us. A few people on softs, particularly those down the order. Sergio Perez on softs as well, so he'll be undercutting his teammate. And it'll be interesting to see if that undercut from Perez works, if he's going to the end of the race on a 1-stop. But here we go, ready for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Second race of this career mode. Can Marduk Motorsport get some points? Let's wait and find out. Away we go for this race. Nearly 4 wide, heading into turn 1, drawing alongside Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT, as we head into turn 1. That is not GOATed driving from us. We're going to have to adjust the brake bias. What works in qualifying doesn't often work in the race. There's something to note as well about the brake bias and the differential. It is so dynamic from racetrack to racetrack. You can see we can get away with 50-50 in qualifying over the course of 1 lap. But when we come to a different track, you need to run like 57, 58 brake bias. It's mental. There's a lot of trial and error going on with setups at the moment. Even just like from qualifying to race, there's so many different facets of play going on, and it's very exciting. Anyway, enough talk about that. Let's get into the race. Having to defend from Lewis Hamilton, who is absolutely flying at this stage. He's got the straight line speed on us already. And we haven't even got the DRS enabled yet. It could be a sign of how things are going to go today. I think maybe we've gone down the qualifying route a little bit too strongly, maybe running too much downforce relative to our direct rivals here. So defending, overtaking might be a little bit tricky. But if we're in clear air, I feel like we'll have pretty good pace. But we are going to be a bit of a sitting duck at this stage. George Russell absolutely flying at this stage. Fastest time of the Grand Prix there in P5, putting pressure on the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. Lewis Hamilton on a conquest to catch up to his teammate and get in the mix with the leaders. Meanwhile, Lando Norris getting very close for comfort. Nearly making contact there on the side-by-side run to this very fast chicane, which saw my demise in Creator Series. Again, you can't touch that curve on the right-hand side. Otherwise, you will bottom out, and it won't be fun times for you. Anyway, now that Norris has overtaken us, we're using him as a horse and carriage, really. He's towing us along with DRS. This is Lance Stroll right behind us, trying to have a go. Ideally, I'd like to keep myself between Norris and Stroll, because Norris is elevating my pace at the moment, and I'm also using him as a buffer to try and keep Stroll behind, but I'm also lifting and coasting at the back end of straights. I feel like we're probably a little bit light on fuel. It is depleting over the course of the lap. And if we lose DRS, if we lose slipstream, that fuel burn is actually going to get worse because we're going to be on the straights longer. We're not going to be achieving top speed as quickly. It's a lot easier to save fuel in a DRS train like this. So very important for us to stay aware of our surroundings and aware that this is what's best for us, even though they're starting to battle Norris and Stroll side by side heading into turn 1. Bit of contact, actually. We're going to see if we can get a nice flowing exit. But no, Stroll parks on the apex, doesn't get the exit, and Norris holds on for now. 6 laps into this Grand Prix, Stroll having a little look around the outside. That's never going to work there. Norris will never leave you space. It's really only a one-line corner into there. Yeah, he gets him eventually. He waits for the opportune moment. With DRS around the outside, that's a pretty much no-risk overtake, and Stroll is now through. And hopefully he can drag both of us along, but not too quickly because I'm nearly out of DRS myself. Anyway, replay, cameras, showing the picture of Norris in a turn 1. Could have probably had a go if he wanted to, but no, he waits another lap and he actually gets ahead again. So it's a bit tit for tat between Norris and Stroll at the moment. I'm doing my best to just stay with these guys. No, that's the curb of death around Jeddah. You ride that thing and you are on a one-trip course to the barrier if you don't get the car pointed in the right direction again. I got hit really badly with someone doing this online the other day, and they rejoined, well, like that, and I died. So, league racing, online racing, open lobbies. If you see someone ahead doing that, then there's a good chance you're going to get killed. So, thankfully, there was no one else around us at the time when we did go straight on. There's a big gap to Albon behind. So we're all good on that one. But yeah, rejoining the action, Stroll and Norris fighting away very hard in the laps after my mistake has meant that I'm actually back in DRS range again. If not for that, I would be left for dead in this race. I'd be on my own and I'd be falling into the clutches of the Williams. But thankfully, these guys are having a bit of a power struggle and have invited me back into this race. The longer we can stay on these guys, I'm not expecting, as we see a yellow flag, could be a safety car. I'm not expecting to be able to overtake these guys as we have a failure. That's for Guan Yu Zhou. Guan Yu Zhou is out of the Grand Prix and it was blocking some of the runners going into the pit lane. This could be a safety car. This could well be a safety car, and I hope it is. It's well timed for us to go onto hards to get to the end. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez does the undercut from the soft to medium, and I think he's going to go to the end on those tyres, or at least try to. So, a ginormous undercutting coming for Sergio Perez on his teammate Verstappen and Russell and Leclerc, I believe. Meanwhile, this little overtake that I did on Lance Stroll while that yellow flag shenanigans was going on. And, yeah, we managed to take full advantage of that. I actually overtook him because I thought there was going to be a safety car, maybe even a red flag. If there was, we would have kept that track position on Stroll. But as is the case, we weren't able to get a safety car. And now we've actually lost DRS to Norris. So, bit of a silly move, but it is what it is. We'll get back in the tow again of Lance Stroll as he overtakes us. And, yeah, hopefully we'll get back in the DRS train once again. But yeah, back to my point earlier. I'm not expecting to actually be able to overtake these guys and stay ahead for P7, P6 in this Grand Prix. What I'm using these guys for is that horse and carriage to get dragged away from Albon to help secure me 1 or 2 points in this race. That's what I'm hoping for. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez has made his pit stop. He's overtaken Albon and that train behind, and he's made huge inroads on us on this lap. He caught us by, like, I want to say a second. Maybe more than a second in that first half of the lap. It's absolutely nuts what new tyres and, of course, that Red Bull does for you. That thing is an absolute spaceship. Just dances past Stroll like he's not even moving. And Stroll is very quick himself in the DRS of me, so it just shows how OP that Red Bull is. Anyway, made up great time heading into the pit lane. We're going to go on to the hard compound tyres now. It's a direct fight between the McLaren, between Aston Martin and Marduk Motorsport in the pit lane. Onto the hards we go. First actual pit stop. And we have problems. We have problems. Hard tyres didn't go on smoothly, and that's a slow pit stop for us. Unfortunately, that's going to cost us DRS to the cars ahead, and we're going to be on our own again. We are indeed going to be on our own again. Look at Stroll, 2.8 seconds ahead of us. I think we probably would have lost DRS anyway because the cold tyres on hards were absolutely brutal coming out of the pit lane. So yeah, that's the nail in the coffin. We are now out of the points. Pierre Gasly has overtaken us on the mediums. He's now going to drag us along in this race, but I'm hoping his tyres kind of die off at the back end of the race. This is a fight for P10 now. Hulkenberg in the lanes. Okay, it's actually not a fight for P10. It's a fight for a little bit more than that. It's for P9. Albon in the lane as well. So there we go. We are still in the points. All is not lost in this race. We could still get P9. So there's been a crazy undercut, I think, on some of the leaders. Or we've undercut someone because we're higher up than where we would have been. No, I'm talking nonsense because that's where we were before anyway with Norris and Stroll, P7 and P8. Either way, I still want to get points in this race. I want to finish this race. I need the knowledge. I need the data. I need to know what this car is capable of over the course of a race stint. And we need these early points because I think we're going to get out-developed in the development race between ourselves and those around us. We don't have the facilities of some of the other big teams. We've started strong. We've hit the ground running with a solidly car in the midfield, but whether we're able to keep up that momentum and stay with those around us remains to be seen. But around the outside we go on Pierre Gasly, very close for comfort. He was giving us the big squeeze, trying to dissuade us from overtaking there, but we get the job done. Now he's going to have the DRS, and this is going to be good rehearsal for later on in the race where we actually will be jockeying for position to see who finishes in P9 in this race. But it looks like it's going to be quite tough to keep him behind if he's got DRS on the run into the last corner especially. But then the run into the finish line will also be a bit tricky as well if we don't get a good exit, for example. Meanwhile, my teammate flying past Oscar Piastri. So it's Marduk Motorsport versus McLaren in both the first driver race and in the second driver race. We were fighting with Norris earlier, so it seems like we've got a pretty level car with McLaren and Alpine. If we have a good day, massive slide for us through that high-speed left-hander. Trying to get on the power super early. I think we were flat at this point, but the tyres are starting to go off, and that was moments from disaster. I don't know how we held on to that. That was absolutely ridiculous. Thankfully, the transition from like no grip to slide was quite progressive. If that was F122, it would have been a much more instantaneous snap, and we would have been out of the race. That is the difference between F122 and F123. Thankfully still alive as we have a little move up the inside of Gasly into turn 1. Round the outside it goes for turn 2. And that's his job done. We're getting to the closing stages of this race. We're into the end game. And now we need to start thinking about where we want to position our car on the last lap or two of this race. I probably want to be second. Let's see. Can we overtake Gasly before the line? If we can, then it's easy game. We just stay behind him on the last lap and then try and overtake him up to the line. But there, the line comes and we were behind him. So I think what we need to do is we need to be the lead car on the last lap heading into the last corner. It is a relatively short run into the line, so that's what we're going to do. Another mistake from us, and Gasly is going to get through. That's not what we wanted. We're going to have to be the chasing car. We have to stay within DRS, rejoin safely, and yeah, there we go. We managed to redress the position without a dangerous re-entry. We are still on the DRS, so we are still alive in this race. We are still kicking and hoping for 2 points in this Grand Prix. 2 laps to go. I hope my engine doesn't die at this stage. We're trying to get Pierre Gasly. We have 70% battery, so we're doing okay on that front. Hopefully, we'll have the straight line speed on him to get him when it counts. But yeah, at this stage, we're trying to position ourselves to be the lead car heading onto the last lap. Are we going to wait for DRS here? We're going to go around the outside. We're going to wait for DRS, get the better exit. Again, this could be a scenario we find ourselves in 1 lap's time. DRS, overtake. Oh, we're still not quite there. So we have to be the lead car on the last lap. Here we go. We are in position. In position 9. Exactly where we need to be. We need to keep Pierre behind on the run-in to the last corner. But that final DRS zone before the last corner, that's where it's going to be tricky to actually stay ahead. Also, the middle sector DRS zone is very long, very winding, very powerful for the AI. So maybe if he overtakes in the middle sector and then we re-overtake him just before the last corner, that might be cash money. Here we go. Round the outside, Pierre Gasly trying to pull this one off. That is not going to work on your old medium compound tires now. I feel like the balance is now in our favor as the hards have worn a lot less than his mediums. He's been on those mediums a long time now, so we definitely have the pace at this stage. He has the straight line speed. It's anyone's game when they have the DRS. Here we go, using all of our battery to try and defend from Pierre Gasly. Sergio Perez wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. That undercut coming in absolute clutch, by the way. Well clear of his nearest rivals. And it is back to us now to see if we can finish this race and finish it in the points. Up into overtake. The gap is less than 2/10. It's a lot closer than what I wanted to be heading into this last corner. We're going to defend the inside from Pierre Gasly. He will probably get a better exit given our position on the circuit. No, we lost the back end. And Gasly's going to go underneath us. He has the track position heading up to the line. He's got the DRS. No, we've got the DRS. It's a drag race. And we double our points in Jeddah.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Come on, Mark. Where's the excitement? We just got 2 points at the line. Marduk Motorsport finishes a race.
And that brings the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix to a close as we reflect on the team's impressive performance today. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here.
Oh my word, guys. What an ending to that race. I thought I blew it. I thought we were done for because I knew Gasly had the DRS on the run up to the line there. I ran wide. He got the switch back on me. He had the track position. Maybe hesitated on the power a little bit, but then when I saw that we had the DRS somehow, it was game on. And that absolutely saved us. We doubled our points tally in the final 100 meters of that race. That was absolutely nuts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that race. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you need to see plenty more My Team and F1 23 content. That was a race. We finally got a race where we could get to the end. We even upped the difficulty as well, and still they couldn't stop us from getting points. That is absolutely nuts. Teo Porcher as well, pace-wise, he did a 31.2, 2 or 3 tenths slower than me, which is not bad in the grand scheme of things. Mainly hampered by qualifying, the lack of track position. He actually wasn't that far back in the grand scheme of things, but you know, when you are squabbling away with slower cars and having to fight through on your own, I was getting tagged along or dragged along by quick cars the whole race, so that kind of made the gap a lot bigger than probably what it should have been. P12 in the driver standings, P7 in the constructors. It's going to be a tough fight between McLaren, Alpine, and those around us to really stay with those guys. I imagine they're going to get the momentum. Well, they already have the points over us right now, and they're going to have the momentum over the next few races. I'm not sure about the development speed of us. We've already had like 1 or 2 upgrades fail. But until we get up to like spec level 1, spec level 2 on most of our parts, there is going to be a bit of a logjam with not being able to develop parts simultaneously in certain departments, or it might be other things like certain parts failing, which then set us back resource point wise, time wise. So I know I'm talking negatively, but I'm just trying to keep the expectations a bit real at the moment. This was quite the substantial result today, and hopefully that's the leapfrog that keeps us ahead of, you know, the back market teams, the Williams, the Alpha Tauris, Alfa Romeos of the world. And if we do an incredible job this season, like back half of the season, we might be in the fight with McLaren and Alpine. That's the reality of this first season. But what a result, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back tomorrow for another episode of this career mode. And we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to try doing a live commentated episode, which is something I've actually never done before on my team. So, uncharted territory. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And yeah, feel free to check out the other videos on my channel. We've done Breaking Point. I'm doing an online video later today, so feel free to check that out. But that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.